Hello, and welcome to our Summer Reading Tales and Tales Buddy Making video series from the Public Library of Brookline. My name is Robin, and I'm a teen librarian at the Brookline Village Library.
I'm here today to show you how to make a knapsack that your buddy can carry things in.
The Buddy Making Challenge is a part of this year's summer reading program at the Public Library of Brookline. If you haven't already, you can register for our summer reading program at brklib.com/beanstack. To find out more information about our entire summer reading program, visit brklib.com/summer21.
Let's get started. To make a knapsack, you'll need our knapsack pattern, which comes with your kit. You'll get a small piece of cotton fabric and two kinds of ribbons. And then you'll need whatever felt you have left over that you'd like to use for the body of the knapsack. You can use some fusion tape. And if you've got your buddy, it's good to have your buddy there so that you can measure how you want the backpack to fit. And in this case, I'm going to have to figure out how to get this backpack to fit on our little dragony friend. So for the first part, you just want to cut out the pattern, and you cut it out along the edges. And you can see there are little marks there to show you where you're going to fold the fabric. So make sure to keep track of that. And then you want to trace the pattern onto your felt. And once you trace it, make sure to mark where those folds would be on the fabric. You can just do it a little bit inside the line that you've traced, and that will help you see where you're going to fold over. And these can be hidden inside the bag once you make it, so it won't show on the outside. Then you want to take your cotton fabric and trace one more of just the knapsack flap so that you can have a decorative top to your knapsack. You just trace it the same way and make sure again to mark where it's going to fold over, just so you can line it up. The cotton fabric will be added on top of the felt, and then you want to make sure to put fusion tape all along the inside of the cotton. So this is on the back side of the pattern of the fabric, and you just want to make sure to put the fusion tape on there so that you can stick it to the felt very securely. So you can see I'm doing a pretty complete coverage of the back, and if you want to get those little rounded corners, you can always just put some small squares of fusion tape at the edges there and cut through them when you cut out that particular part of the pattern. And then as you can see, once it's cut out, you've got a nice solid amount of backing on the flap. And then you just want to cut out the rest of it. So once you've got the knapsack part all cut out, you just want a piece of fusion tape to run along the bottom, and that will seal shut the bottom of the knapsack. You'll fold it over along where those fold lines were, and then that will let you go ahead and fold it into a seam on the back. And then you'll just want to make sure you can seal it along the seam as well. So you put a small piece of fusion tape there. And I usually fold the bottom first just to make sure that it's staying in the right place and that it looks good. And then you peel off the middle seam and you can press down both at the same time. And it a nice little sealed pouch. And then for the flap, you want to go ahead and stick the cotton to the felt by peeling off all the backing of the fusion tape. And just make sure to press firmly down to make sure all the edges are stuck. And then once you've got it firmly on there, you can trim off the edges of the felt if you don't want it to show. Once that's ready, then you'll want to attach it to the back, and that you have that same marker. And then you put the fusion tape on the back of the felt, and you attach it to the back. And if it's a little too big, as it is here, you can always trim off the sides to make sure that it fits the back of the knapsack. You don't want the sticky edges showing off the edge. And you press down firmly, and then you've got a nice little flap. Now to attach the flap to make sure that it stays down, so in this case we're going to use the ribbon to make a little strap that will hold down the flap on the back of the knapsack. And you'll just want to use fusion tape first to stick it down on one end, and then wrap it around so that you can see how loosely it's holding the flap down. You want it pretty secure, but it shouldn't be so tight that you won't be able to maneuver the flap underneath the ribbon. So put it on the back so that you won't see much of the seam of the ribbon. And you may have to trim the fusion tape a little carefully, especially if you're using narrow ribbon like this. But as long as you stick it on first and cut it with your scissors, you should be able to get a nice clean stick. Then wrap it around to make sure it works. And then snip off the back and stick it down there as well. And that will keep it nice and secure. Then finally you're going to need to measure the straps and make it with the other ribbon that you have. So you want to make sure that you have enough ribbon to make sure that the knapsack will stay on your buddy, but also make sure that it will stay on once you actually maneuver it through their arms or legs or however you've got your buddy made. So in this case I'm using the ribbon to measure. That's the easiest way to make sure that you've got enough, and also to make sure that it will fit. So it should fit snugly but not too tight. You don't want to have to force it through the armholes. And then you just keep track of that center point of where you're going to want the loops of the straps. And in this case, I'm just trying to make sure that it'll stay in the center and that I can loop it around the other flipper of our dragon, and then make sure that it'll stay. And we do have enough. As you can see, I have a little extra. And then I just keep track of where that center point is. And then once you pull it off and you know where the center line is, then you just need to layer in a few pieces of fusion tape. So you add fusion tape to that center point to mark where it is, and then you fold it over and attach one end to where that point is, and then you'll have your first strap, and then you go ahead and attach the other side, and you'll have your second strap. And just make sure, you can always go back and double check to make sure that you've got it in the right place. In my case, I made it while it was on the buddy to make sure that it actually fits exactly the way I wanted. And then once you're done, you've got the straps, and you just need to attach them to the knapsack itself. And then you just use another piece of fusion tape and you've got the straps on there. And now your knapsack can work as an independent bag, and then you'll always know that it'll fit your buddy. And we librarians have named this little buddy Algernon Bumper Snoot. And this will be his nice little knapsack that he can wear anywhere he wants.
Thank you all so much for reading and making with us today. The summer reading program is generously sponsored by the library trustees and the Friends of the Brookline Public Library. Please check out our other videos in this playlist for more tips and tricks in creating your buddy.